Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about NT2 Staatsexamen Spreken exam. This was the toughest exam, honestly. Out of all the exams that I did, this was the toughest exam. I'm not even kidding, and I will tell you why. Not to scare you, but to prepare you for what monstrosity is on your way. I hope you are comfortable with speaking, then it's an easy exam for you, I think. My humble opinion, I think this was the toughest exam, and I will also tell you what happened during this exam. So this exam is about 20 minutes, okay? So not a long time, you see, only 20 minutes. But during these 20 minutes, you are not allowed to drink water, you're not allowed to eat anything. You cannot carry any dictionary to this exam. This is the only exam where you're not allowed to carry a dictionary with you. And you cannot, because the exam is only 20 minutes. Now, why so? Because you cannot skip, pause, start from the back. No, you are not allowed to choose to do anything. The exam will start and it will keep moving to the next question on its own, whether you are ready or not. So you cannot choose if you want to start from the back. Maybe you want to take the bigger questions first. No, you cannot choose. You may not choose. Maybe you don't like this question and you want to come to this question later. No, you cannot choose. Okay. So what happens is, when you're done with the basic video introduction and then you put the code in and then you're ready to take over the world with your answers, you will start with the first question. There's a sample question. Always there's one sample question. It's always the same question with like sample answer. So the question is, if you are in a class and two students are talking to each other during the lecture, what would you do? And the sample answer is kunnen jullie even stil zijn? Okay. You all know the meaning of this. If you're already preparing for a B1 Spreken exam, you already know the meaning of this. Don't have to speak a lot, okay? Even if there are 30 seconds for you to be able to speak, it doesn't mean that you have to speak for all 30 seconds. As long as what is needed and that is conveyed, you are done with the answer. You just have to sit and wait for the next 20 seconds to pass, because you have already completed your answer in the first 5 seconds. So what happens is, once you press start, the question will start. You will listen to the question and then they will give you about 15 seconds to frame that answer in your mind, and then the timer is on. You have to speak your answer. That timer is about 20 seconds for the short answer type question, and for the long answer type question it's a bit longer, but I will discuss about it later. So then you speak and then the timer will go. Once the timer is done of 20 seconds for you to answer the question, it will switch to the next question. So you don't have any time to pause or think in between the two questions that how did I do in my previous answer. You don't have a choice to pause the paper. No, once you click that start button, you have to keep going through all the questions. So you were done with this question. After this, you would move to the next question. Again, there is a question. They're not really related. It is just unrelated, random things are happening. There might be one or two, but mostly they are not. Unless you're talking about the long format question, then they are, but later on that. So then there are just random things happening. For example, they will ask you what happened at your first day at your new job. So how was the day? And then they will give you maybe 3 pictures. So then you have to cover all these 3 things in your answer. So then that is enough, right? So it is possible that they will just ask you for your opinion, or you just have to say 1 or 2 sentences. Then there are possible pictures, okay? And then you have to cover all the 3 pictures. And you have to explain what is happening in those pictures. And then there are also longer format type questions where they would ask you like a bit more in detail about what happened. So then you have to cover more things, okay? So then also the timer is of 30 seconds. So instead of 20 seconds, this would be of 30 seconds and you have to cover more things. As I said, like there are 3 things happening in this picture, so you have to explain all 3 things. So these are the long answer type questions where you'll have to cover more things in your answer. And then the first ones are the short answer type questions. Of course, they're for less marks and it is for less time, so you have to speak less. But anywhere is mentioned that long answer should be at least 100 words or short answer should be at least 30-40 words. But as I said, as long as you can convey whatever is asked, so for as long as you can explain the 3 images they asked for, then you're good to go. So that's how the paper went. You don't have a choice. There is no pause button, okay? Honestly, this is the most difficult part for me, because for me, I like to ponder over how did the previous answer go. Did I say it correctly? Was it right? But I didn't have any time to do that because as soon as I was done with this question, I had to move to the next one, and I wasn't ready for it to move on because I think my fifth or sixth question, I didn't answer it very properly, like to my liking. And I was like, okay, that didn't go so well, but I didn't even have time to feel bad that I didn't answer the previous question correctly because this question already started, and then I lost like my 5 or 10 seconds thinking about the previous question. So this is really also a mental exercise that you cannot think about other things. You just have to focus on this one. It's only 20 minutes, and these 20 minutes, you really cannot think about anything else, not even the previous question, not the next question. You just have to focus on this one. Also, I felt that 15 seconds were not enough, 15 or 20 seconds were not enough for me to form the answers, especially if, let's say, I don't know how in Dutch, I don't know how to say that in Dutch. Okay, so if I had enough time, I would somehow make my way around it to say something else. But because I don't have enough time, and I also have to say the two other things, I have to form the answer in my head. So in that case, I felt okay, this is not enough time for me to cover all of it, and I just have to form the answers. So that's why I felt that Spreken was the most toughest exam out of all of those. I still don't have the results for my Spreken and Schrijven exam as of today when I am recording this video. Because honestly, yes, Schrijven and Spreken, especially Spreken, I found it really challenging. And also with Spreken, another problem which I felt is that you don't have anyone to exercise this with, because you can practice reading, writing, even listening. You can practice it online, you will find exercises. But with Spreken, you do not have a lot of option to practice. Like, you really have to pay someone to help you with it so that they can give you feedback. So there has to be another person on the other side who is checking for you, but you cannot do it on your own. I paid for Preply. I went on Preply's website and I tried to find a Dutch teacher. So if I could even practice for like 1 hour or 2 hours, I felt it was enough because I already have a lot of exposure to the Dutch language, because I'm working in a Dutch company and I have to speak Dutch to customers all day long. So I felt even if I could practice for 2 hours, that was more than enough. So what I did in the end was that I went on the NT2 Staatsexamen website. So they do have the questions there, but whether your answers are right or not, you don't know. And there are no sample answers. So you don't know, again, how long should be the answer, should you speak for all 20 seconds, like you don't know anything. So I went to ChatGPT. Thank you, ChatGPT, because somehow ChatGPT helped me. What I did was I switched on the audio mode and then I spoke the answers. I spoke the answers, and then ChatGPT would correct those answers for me that this is not correct. So then I also found out some of my major mistakes, especially if I'm using als or that, then the verb should go in the end, but I was not doing that. Or for example, when you're connecting, the conjunctions are with want and that, and in that the verb goes in the end, and want, it doesn't. So I was still bringing it to the end. Like, it happens when you're speaking, you're under pressure, it happens. So these kind of things, sometimes with snell and sneller, so which one should be which, my adjectives and all. So these are important. If you want, do let me know. I can make a detailed video about how to practice for your Spreken exam, because I don't think I can cover that in this whole video, because that would be something which is very detailed. So I think this is what I did. Then I practiced all 3 question papers. I think I practiced them twice because the first 2 times it didn't go so well. So I practiced those on ChatGPT. So all 3 question papers, and then I went to YouTube for the Add Apple classes. So on YouTube they have questions and answers and question and answers for the previous year's question paper, and then I got a bit of idea of, okay, so that answer, it does not have to be like really long, even if it's 1 sentence, 2 sentence, and keep it minimal as you need. Because let's face it, there are 2 types of conjunctions, want and that. Okay, I'm just going with because they mean the same. So want and that, you will not get any extra marks for using that. Okay, so if want is easier and want is what you want to use, want and want. Okay, so if want is what you want to use and it's easier, then just go for want. No need to complicate your answers. This is a bit difficult for me because I wanted to sound fancy, but honestly, yes, just keep it as simple as it can be, and you won't get any extra marks for complicating it, but your marks will definitely be deducted if your answer is not correct. Also, don't try to speak too much. I mean, as long as the message is conveyed, then don't add things on, because the more mistakes you make, they will have to deduct your marks. They don't have a choice. So the lesser you speak, the better, but like not zero. So just do the minimum. If the minimum is one line, say the one line and move on. You don't have to add extra things to it, which my Indian brain couldn't, because in the college which I come from, the more you write, the more marks you get. So yeah, it was yeah, that was difficult for me. I prepared from YouTube. I prepared with ChatGPT and I went on Preply. I think you could also find other websites like these. There are also some paid websites, if I'm not wrong, where you can take the subscription for 35 euros and they would help you with that. Just the thing is that with Spreken, you need someone, on the other side who can listen to what you are saying, what you're doing, and how is this wrong. So you really need proper feedback. So that's one thing. Suggestion I can give you, I don't know if it's very correct. When you start the exam, you listen to the question. Other people are also listening to the question. And when the 15 seconds are done, they're done for everyone, okay? So then suddenly everyone starts speaking. Okay, so then for that 10 seconds or 15 seconds, the room is like, it's full of chatter and clatter. And then everyone is quiet. And then again, so it happens in harmony, honestly. The only thing which I can say I noticed is that when I answered my question and there was a word about, I'm not allowed to say the questions or the answers, so I will not. But there was a certain word which I used for a certain activity, because that's a very specific word. So the lady next to me, not next to me, but like opposite to me, she heard that word. And because there was still time left in those like 20 seconds, so she used my word and then she used that word in her answers, like, so la 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 la, la. So then she used that word and I was like, ha, clever, like maybe start your answer a bit late, like 10 seconds late, because it's not counted with other people but with your timer. So I was like, okay, that's clever. That you just have to prepare very well. You should be able to speak properly. Your pronunciations, your enunciation should be correct. Like snell and sneller are two different things, right? They cannot be. The klein and kleiner is not same. They will deduct your marks for that. So be very careful about that. And it's just 20 minutes, but these 20 minutes you have to give your 100% and make sure you do not drink too much water, because there's no washroom. You cannot go to the washroom because there is no option to pause the exam. So if you go to the washroom, half your exam is already gone. Okay, it's only 20 minutes. So that's something to keep in mind. There's one more suggestion which I can give you is you can prepare certain things in your mind. Some sentences are very generic, that I could use this, because when you go through the old question papers, you get the gist of, okay, I think this type of questions are always there. So you can at least prepare like those how do I say, filler words, or the words which make your answers longer. So let's say you did 3 things, so then you can like it's like why sein begonnen met, the first thing, then daarna hadden wij, then the second thing, in het eind or by het eind we did this, yeah, eindelijk. So like you can have those, there's like bovendien. Apart from that, so you can have those words which also give you some time to think about things, so the filler words. And some sentences also, maybe if you want to make those, I actually made a list of all these words and sentences which I would be able to add there, like just throw them like sprinkles. But yes, I could share those with you if you are interested. Let me know. Let's recap. The Spreken exam is of 20 minutes. The question paper is of 2 parts. The short answers, you start with the short answers and then you end with the long answer type questions. The long answer type questions can sometimes also have multiple parts, but mostly it's like with the long answer type question, you would have more images to describe or more things to describe. And that's mostly the long answer type questions. And the passing marks also here are 500 passing marks. So I don't know how much is the exam out of, but the passing marks are 500. So anything 500 and above is passed and 499 and below is fail. The exam results usually come in 5 weeks. So I gave my exam on 27th of February and my result is coming on 1st of April. Oh, so 4 weeks, I think. Almost 4 to 5 weeks, yeah. So they will tell you the date and time also. So it's only after 3 p.m. that you can check your answers. Go to the washroom, you cannot bring water, dictionary or food, unlike other exams. And this is pretty much it. Let me know if I'm missing something, or if you had a different experience. Maybe you found the speaking exam to be the easiest one. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. So do let me know in the comment section. And if you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. It's a new channel, and I don't have a lot of subscribers. But if I have more subscribers, I'll be even more motivated to make more videos. So I would love to hear from you. And yes, I hope to see you guys in the next one. All the best. Bye bye.